Good morning, Willard Wildcats. Happy Tuesday, September 22nd. Happy birthday today to Noah F. and Sebastian N. We hope you have wonderful birthdays on this Tuesday. On Tuesdays, we celebrate I Be Green, which means we take action and we care about the environment and the world around us. And as global citizens, we think about what we can do in our space to make the environment better. It might be turning off lights, not using as much water, reducing waste, recycling, reusing. And when we think about that on Tuesday, I was thinking about that too. And I was thinking, I wonder what the trees and the animals in the trees think and how important trees are to our environment. Trees have been on my mind a lot lately, as they've probably been on your mind too. So I picked this book today called The Great Kapok Tree by Lynn Cherry. It's a tale of the Amazon rainforest, because I was curious and thinking about the trees and thinking about all the perspectives of the wildlife in the trees, and also how we can think about conserving and making sure that we're doing good things for the environment. So today, the Great Kapok Tree. The Great Kapok Tree. The smaller man took the axe he carried and struck the trunk of the tree. Whack, whack, whack. The sounds of the blows rang through the forest. The wood of the tree was very hard. Chop, chop, chop. The man wiped off the sweat that ran down his face and neck. Whack, chop, whack, chop. Soon the man grew tired. He sat down to rest at the foot of the Great Kapok Tree. Before he knew it, the heat and the hum of the forest had lulled him to sleep. A boa constrictor lived in the Kapok Tree. He slithered down its trunk to where the man was sleeping. He looked at the gash the axe had made in the tree. Then the huge snake slid very close to the man and hissed in his ear. "Senor, this tree is a tree of miracles. It is my home where generations of my ancestors have lived. Do not chop it down." A bee buzzed in the sleeping man's ear. "Senor, my hive is in this kapok tree, and I fly from tree to tree and flower to flower collecting pollen. In this way, I pollinate the trees and flowers throughout the rainforest. You see, all living things depend on one another." A troop of monkeys scampered down from the canopy of the kapok tree. They chattered to the sleeping man. "Senor, we have seen the ways of man. You chop down one tree, then come back for another and another. The roots of these great trees will wither and die, and there will be nothing left to hold the earth in place. When the heavy rains come, the soil will be washed away and the forest will become a desert." A toucan, a macaw, and a cock of the rock flew down from the canopy. "Senor," squawked the toucan, "you must not cut this tree down. You have flown over the rainforest and seen what happens once you chop down the trees. Many people settle on the land. They set fires to clear the underbrush, and soon the forest disappears. Where once there was life and beauty, only black and smoldering ruins remain." A bright and small tree frog crawled along the edge of a leaf. In a squeaky voice, he piped in the man's ear. "Senor, a ruined rainforest means ruined lives, many ruined lives. You will leave many of us homeless if you chop down the Great Kapok Tree." A jaguar had been sleeping along a branch in the middle of the tree. Because his spotted coat blended into the dappled light and shadows of the understory, no one had noticed him. Now he leapt down and padded silently over to the sleeping man. He growled in his ear, "Senor, the kapok tree is home to many birds and animals. If you cut it down, where will I find my dinner?" 4 tree porcupines swung down from the branch to branch and whispered to the man, "Senor, do you know what we animals and humans need in order to live? Oxygen. And Senor, do you know what trees produce? Oxygen. If you cut down the forest, you will destroy that which gives us all life." Several anteaters climbed down the kapok tree with their young clinging to their backs. The unstriped anteater said to the sleeping man, "Senor, you are chopping down this tree with no thought for the future. And surely you know that what happens tomorrow depends on what you do today." The big man tells you to chop down a beautiful tree. He does not think of his own children who tomorrow must live in a world without trees. A three-toed sloth had begun climbing down from the canopy when the first man appeared. Not only now did she reach the ground, plodding ever so slowly over the sleeping man, she spoke in her deep and lazy voice. Senor, how much is beauty worth? Can you live without it? If you destroy the beauty of the rainforest, on what would you feast your eyes? A child from the Yanomamo tribe who lived in the rainforest knelt over the sleeping man. He murmured in his ear, Senor, when you wake, please look upon us with new eyes. What is that about? In terms of being an IB student, that's all about perspective. And what we always do as IB students is try to consider the perspectives of others. The man awoke with a start. Before him stood the rainforest child, and all around him staring were the creatures who depended upon the great kapok tree. What wondrous and rare animals they were! The man looked about and saw the sun streaming through the canopy. Spots of bright light glowed like jewels amidst the dark green forest. Strange and beautiful plants seemed to dangle in the air. Do you think his perspective has changed? The man smelled the fragrant perfume of their flowers. He felt the steamy mist rising from the forest floor, but he heard no sound, for the creatures were strangely silent. The man stood and picked up his axe. He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree. Suddenly he stopped. He turned and looked at the animals and the child. He hesitated. Then he dropped the axe and walked out of the rainforest. Do you think his perspective changed? Seemed like a complete shift. As IB students, we always think about what we can do to take action and what we can do for the environment. So as global citizens, and in thinking about how we can support reusing, reducing, recycling, think about those things and what you might be able to do in your space. Even if it's turning the water off in between brushing your teeth, these little things add up to be big things for our environment. And it's something that you can talk to your class about and to your teacher about, and things that you can talk to the people in your space about to get ideas about how we can be IB Green students. Wildcats, remember, we are safe, respectful, and responsible. And I will see you on Wednesday. Have a wonderful day.